pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I call the meeting to order. First thing on our agenda today is the consent agenda, the minutes of August 30th, and the vendor report.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion on any of those? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Grant Anderson, are you on? All right, I'll handle this instead of Grant. Did you guys pick up on his request that he's sending to the state? What he wants to do is extend the grant period end date to September 20th to make sure that all of the final reimbursements are made to the county, well, are made to the project, which includes we fronted some of those funds.
And everything's all done out there.
Yeah.
That's why you come on there. Can you tell if somebody comes on there?
I can, but
Okay.
no one has. That was my computer that beeped, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess it's, what's the pleasure of the board?
I think we should extend it, and I think, I'll approve, make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion on anything? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next up, Jason Slack and Garfield Coleman. Discussion and/or decision to approve and authorize support to sign the 2022-2023 proposal for the temporary ADA ramp enclosure. And with that, Jason, I will turn it over to you.
This is a proposal to erect the scaffolding structure over our temporary ADA ramp for $53,116.19. It's almost exactly $10,000 more than it was last year due to fire-rated plywood. We had to use fire-rated plywood on the structure per city.
Okay.
So the city's gonna grant us a temporary permit or whatever?
Yeah, the city's fine with it as long as we put the FR plywood up.
Okay.
If there are any questions, let me know.
All right, thanks.
So I just wanted to ask the question, because I was kind of talking with Mitch last week a little bit as we were looking out the window there. Is it even remotely possible to consider doing something, you know, like a walk-through structure and have people enter back in the original doors? You know, despite, hear me out, so what I'm getting at would be like the walk-through scaffold like you see on buildings where it's just basically a 7-foot walk-through, you know, tunnel looking thing more or less.
Yep.
So both sides of it can be covered, you can continue to do construction around it. I'm just considering the costs that we have. That's a lot of money.
I guess I don't understand exactly what you're.
So I mean, they've got the roof line over here pretty much covered.
Right.
So is it possible just to run something straight down the center of that thing? Because there's
Not
not a lot of
with the work,
construction.
not with the work that's going on. They don't even have the steps poured yet on the east side, so.
I think they're getting construction and stuff in the empty lot, right?
Yep.
So, I think it'd be a safety issue.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have a little bit of it already anyway, because they have to walk across that little, you know, entryway, because they're storing stuff in the lay down yard and coming back across, but I don't know, it's expensive. But then again, we have one resident that has an issue, it's gonna be probably more expensive, so I get it.
That could be a mess.
Right.
One person could be getting hurt, could really make a mess.
So it'll be an identical structure, just
Yes.
better.
Different plywood.
Exactly.
Jason, do you think you and your team can keep the snow and ice off that?
I feel confident that we can keep it clear of snow. After talking with Garfield, and some of the implications, if someone was to fall and get hurt, then us turning around retroactively trying to build a structure, I'm kind of siding more with Garfield on his line of thought there.
So when would it,
You're
when,
saying do it.
I'd say do it. I mean, snow, you don't know when it's gonna snow. It can snow at 5 o'clock in the morning. It can snow at 6 o'clock in the morning. And by the time you get, personnel, if Jason has someone sick out, he's not gonna have the people to come in to get it clear in time. And if you notice, some of the people that comes in the courthouse, they need some assistance. And the last time it was up, I got a lot of good phone calls, a lot of good feedback saying, thanks for putting that up. So I know it costs a lot, but it's for the citizens and it's for the employees of the county to make sure that they're safe.
What's the date it'd go up?
that's what I was wondering.
November, sometime in November, towards the end of November. Be like last year, we would have to pay 3 months rent, so November, or we paid December, January, February, and take it down in March, would be the plan.
Well, I feel we need to cover it. It's not fun spending that money, but if someone gets hurt, it'll cost us way more, so I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second.
I'm not crazy about the costs either, but I talked with Garfield about it and Jason. Some of those treads, if you look at those ramps, they go north and south for the most part. And some of them, when you make your turn on that deck area, they go east and west. So, you know, if somebody's comfortable walking up those things with traction with the treads, and then they make the turn to go around and they step on something with the treads going east and west, that's, could be an issue, and I really hate to spend the money, but I agree with the board, and I agree with Garfield, and, we need to do it and make sure nobody gets hurt. Is there any other discussion for Garfield or Jason? Jason, you have anything else?
I do not.
Mr. Coleman, do you have anything else?
Did we,
You don't benefit from it.
ask the other outfit
Then
to
you
bid
shouldn't
it
bid
too
for it.
then or not?
We didn't, we just went with our low bid from last time.
Okay.
They already had the design, we stuck with them.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
A motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions?
I did reach out to Larson Painting to get us a price to go over that non-slip coating that's on the surface of the ramp now too, so.
What kind of money?
It's probably only, probably talking around 2,000 or so.
Is this in your budget, Jason?
Yeah,
That's even better.
the ramp enclosure is not in my budget, but the coating would be, yeah.
Okay. Jason, you're still up. This is a discussion decision on the proposal for cemetery gates at the Green Valley Cemetery. Jason, you're up.
This is a quote from Mark Markinson Construction, to put some gates up down at Green Valley Cemetery. Right now, when you go down to the cemetery, I think there's a faded metal painted sign that says Green Valley on it. Other than that, you would never know that there was any graves, down in that area. So, something to mark that it's a cemetery, I think is probably, in line with what we want to do there. So, just his basic 14-foot double wide gate, with a curved top, we're looking at $7,694. Then he's got a couple of add-ons too that, the board chooses to do. We could, discuss that.
This, I thought said something about the backs side of, Green Valley, so is this the one off of, College?
Yeah, but the entrance is at the top of from within the cemetery.
So the one that's off the, road there, College Road,
That's the same cemetery.
right, but that's not the end.
That's not the entrance.
Okay.
No. The other entrance is within the cemetery.
Yeah, there's no access from College Road. You can only
Kinda
access it
is
from.
there, it's an old entrance
Well,
that's
that's where the-
overgrown and
Yeah, I mean,
That's where
we've,
you put the flagpole, right?
yeah,
it's down in there.
yeah, it's not really a public access though for the cemetery. It would be like a maintenance entrance from College
Okay.
Road.
Where would we take this money out of?
The auditor's budget.
Yeah, I got it well enough padded. I got enough fluff in there, damn, I could do it.
Jason, I'm sorry, Brian, go.
Would this come from gaming?
That's probably, I'd recommend that, if that's, if we're gonna go that route, I think that's where we should do it.
And how much of the extras do we wanna do, or do we just wanna do the 76.94?
I guess the question really is gonna be, what's our long-term plan with this? I mean, is this always gonna be our thing?
It
Or
looks
is there
like it.
some way to offload this?
Yeah, I believe it was offloaded to us years ago and I don't know that we can give it to anybody else.
I don't know if it was offloaded, was it? Was it always like the pauper?
Yeah, it
Cemetery?
was. I can't remember. I was looking back on some of the older, the deeds for that, but I think the city at one time maintained it.
It was deeded to the county years ago. I mean, like, I don't remember the exact date. But it was
1800s, wasn't it?
early 1900s, somewhere in there.
I think the last person buried up there, am I right, 1940s?
You could be right. Yes.
I think that's the last one that was buried in there.
So will these gates always be shut?
I would imagine they'd always be open. I don't see any reason to close the cemetery off.
Is there
So why
any
can't we
kind
put
of,
in a walk gate then?
We could.
You can't drive in there anyway, right? Or is there parking?
you can, but most people won't.
It's not like a paved road. It's not even a gravel road. It's just dirt.
It's just,
Goes down in there.
I don't know, I just, are there veterans buried there, or do you know?
It's possible, but there's really, some of the graves that are down there, quite a few of them aren't even marked. And some of the headstones are so weathered, you cannot, discern a name.
I just feel like we're
I
gonna.
looked into, I asked the veterans about that. and
Yeah, I just
It
think-
didn't seem like there was any in there that they knew of.
It just wouldn't surprise me.
Because that could have been a possible funding source. And they said, no, they didn't have any records or any records of that.
Yeah, here's the thing, is if we're gonna own this, we should do it right, you know, I don't wanna just put a little fancy gate up, call it good and walk away, I mean, I don't necessarily like that the county owns it either, but, I just think it needs to be done the right way.
So, who would keep, does the auditor's office have the records on the cemetery, or who's got?
Who's buried there?
Well, I mean,
I think that
the,
Porter would.
right, has it been the county cemetery this whole time?
As far as I know, whenever it got,
Wouldn't somebody, had to purchase the plot, or how did it go?
oh, I don't know, we'd have to go and get a title searcher to see who owned that. What Tim said, the city had it for a while.
I'm not sure of anything. All I know is that that road was not paved when that cemetery was put in there. Now School Hill Road is paved. Part of the property that was originally designated for that cemetery, the city took for the road.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, it's Mary Lou McGinn with the Historical Society would like to have this thing, identified somehow, and I think with those gates, we'll take care of it. Right now, people can drive in there if they want to, right?
Yep.
With no need to go in there. No need to drive in there.
There's really, I mean, it's not a good road to drive down. It's literally dirt So
They
there's really,
can probably walk down if they want to do a little
yeah.
Jason,
research.
did we clean up like the
Well, I mean, like if someone went there, how would they?
big chunks of garbage that were down there?
We pick up the garbage and we also cut the, fallen limbs down and we also mow it.
Okay.
It's easier to come in from, what do you call it, High School Road or College Road?
College.
College.
Actually,
High school.
that
Well,
entrance is not very
I
good.
lost you there for a minute too, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
I knew what you meant.
College Road, sorry.
It's easier to come in from that side, isn't it?
Not really, driving. I mean, you can walk in,
No, I mean, walking in.
it's probably about the same.
Isn't it pretty
But
steep
there's-
on the other side?
It's,
Yes, but there's no real place to park on College Road.
Well,
So then-
there kinda is, I mean,
You get a mess going there.
What is our entrance? Is it
there
just
just isn't,
off the road right on the dirt?
no, I
Is that
mean,
what's
one
going on right now?
car you can
well,
go in.
on College Road is you kinda have to know where you're gonna go.
Right.
Because,
Mhm.
I mean, you can get up behind some trees and you can find a little,
I'm just saying, is there any gravel, or if we put this big, nice fence in, is there gonna be some sort of drive up to it, or?
yeah, I mean, we probably should, talk about taking a load of gravel out there and,
We don't have to go past the gate, but maybe just to the gate at least, something.
Yeah.
The gate where they want it is not very far off the
Yeah.
road in the cemetery.
Well, you figure when they bring all this equipment to put this fence stuff in, they're gonna be digging up quite a bit, and driving their equipment over it, so.
I suggest we do this, the 7694, and then when we're done, if we need gravel,
Yeah, I guess.
look at that at that point.
I don't know how, well gravel's gonna work on that, cause it's quite an incline. And it might make it more of a hazard to walk down there if you're walking on gravel too, so.
Oh, we'll look at it and see what, I'll make the motion to approve the
I'll second it.
How many acres is there, do you know?
gaming, please.
What do you
Scott, I can look.
The fence, the proposal. for the
Okay.
fence.
There's 2 or 3 parcels to it.
Oh, there is? It's not all one?
And it's not all level, there's one down here, there's one up here, and there's one over here.
Okay, Supervisor Shea, did you say the 7694 out of gaming? Was that
That's what I thought we should do,
Yeah, I
yes.
agree.
Yeah, second.
Is there any other discussion for Jason on this? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go, Jace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Matt Wyatt, Planning and Development, discussion decision to approve and authorize the board to sign memorandum of understanding between Potawatomi County Division of Public Health and the Centro Latino, effective September 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Matt, you're up.
We are trying to form a stronger partnership with Central Latino. They have a new executive director down there. His name is Marcos Hernandez. I had a chance to meet, Marie and I both had a chance to meet with him and Brenda Moran, who's on the board down there right now. During COVID-19, obviously, we became very aware of the large Hispanic Latino population in Potawatomi County. And even though I believe, our census isn't necessarily totally reflective of the large population that we have, because you will find within that community, a lot of them will still maintain Omaha addresses so that they can receive their care over at One World Community Health Center. It's where they're comfortable going to. It's set up for a Latino population over there. And we have a really big need in the community to have Central Latino be a strong organization for that population of individuals in our county who come here, whether it be on a migrant work visa, trying to obtain their citizenship. They hold citizenships classes down there, and just really welcome people into Potawatomi County to show them the benefits of what we have to offer them, our community events, mixing in their cultural events with our community events, and to grow that base that we have there. We tried several times during COVID-19 to really form that partnership under their previous director. It wasn't really successful. Marcos has a wealth of experience behind him. He's an retired out of the Air Force. And so we immediately kind of had that veteran bond there, and he really wants to do good with that community. And so part of what we have done in the public health department before is we've done this memorandums of understanding. We had it with Connections, Area Agency on Aging previously, and it allows us to have, utilize their staff as a community referral purpose. So people call in, they might be housing insecure, they might be food insecure, they might need health care. Any one of those things, we need to make sure that we have people who that community trusts to speak with them and refer them to agencies within our county instead of branching out and referring them elsewhere. We wanted to try to keep them here and receive those, you know, whether it's a food bank or housing assistance or even healthcare. We want them to be able to receive that within our community to make them a bigger part of what we're doing. And so that's what we're gonna start off with here with Central Latino in that area. A big priority of us coming out of COVID-19 is that language barriers that are out there. We applied for a large grant through Health and Human Services federal level. Hopefully we'll be able to receive that. That's going to address a lot of those language barriers within our community. But and all of us, you know, all the way around as a county, we should all really be rooting for Central Latino to succeed in what they're doing and to become a stronger part of our community. And in order to do that, I mean, one of the steps is we need to have this partnership with them. So,
Matt, why do you only want to fund it till December 31st?
this is really to give us time to solidify that relationship in other areas. So we have received large amounts of funding for health equity. And part of what we have to do is to come up with a firmer plan on how do we put all those pieces into place for us. And even when you talk about health equity, how do you define health equity? And that's, so for our Board of Health, us as a health department, we really have to come together and get those parts done. Central Latino is going to be a part of that. We just don't know how yet. And so this time period for this memorandum of understanding will give us that time to put those pieces into place. And I would imagine we'll be coming back with either another memorandum of understanding and or we'll switch it and they will be a subcontract of us and another grant that we have.
These are grant funds. The 25,000 are grant funds.
No, these are funds that are within our budget.
So is this one person then?
It's actually about 1.5.
There'll be Central Latino employees then?
Yes.
Okay. And then how do you, I guess, measure their, I guess, effectiveness or productivity, or how do you do that?
So it's monthly reports back to us, and it marks, you know, the number of whether it's calls, walk-ins, and referrals made, and in what areas. We gather that data. That data helps go into our community health needs assessment and where we should be focusing our attention at as a priority area.
In your presentation, Matt, you, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you stated that you have received a large amount of grant dollars for this type of thing.
For health equity.
Okay, you're not calling this health equity?
I'm not calling this health equity yet. No, this is a community referral. So previously we'd been using Connections Area Agency on Aging as a community referral partner. This is, so when you ask, you know, where you're looking at where the funds are at, well, that MOU with Connections is gone now. They're no longer receiving these funds. So that switches over to Central Latino.
We had an MOU with Connections that
Correct.
expired.
Mm-hmm.
So are they, Connections then referring people to Central Latino if they get contacted with?
So we had a person that we were working with over there.
Work.
It wasn't really meeting the goals that we were hoping to achieve out of it. And so, we ended that relationship.
Okay.
And that funding was within your budget at that time too?
Correct.
Okay, so this is just a transfer over.
Mhm.
Will there be enough in your budget to continue this after the first of the year?
Yes, but the goal is to switch it over to health equity
Okay.
and, work within those
Possible grants at
parameters.
that time.
We have the grants already.
Okay,
It's just a matter of just switching it over, and whether it's an MOU or a subcontract from those.
okay. So if it is a subcontract, do they go to the county? Are they a county employee at that time, or?
No.
They're a complete different equity?
Yeah, we would still subcontract, we would subcontract to them. They're their own, employees. There's still the reporting mechanisms that have to go in there. It's just we're able to partner and write them into the grant with us as that.
Matt, are you done? If you think at the first of the year that you might be able to classify this as health equity, why can't you do it now?
To me, it takes a little bit more time to get those pieces put into place than it does. These funds are a little bit more flexible for us. And so to define out what those health equity parameters are, to me, it just takes more. I want to be very specific on what we mean by health equity. And I don't want to define health equity as being just one population of people. I want it to be health equity for the entire county. There's, there's a number of things that go into that. I think it's been used loosely as it's been broadcast out about what it's there for. And if you were to look at health equity and the lens that a lot of people put on it, I would be surprised that we would receive any amount of funds for it just based off of our demographics. And so we have to look a little bit deeper into what health equity means for Potawatomi County and make sure that we have the right criteria set out there and that we do it in either the right way through an MOU or a subcontract on that. But I want to make sure that we are doing it for the right reasons and that it's inclusive of, of all the people in Potawatomi County, not just specific groups.
What's your budget for the Office on Aging? Contract, MOU?
It was $45,000.
So we're gonna be a little short for the rest of the year.
No, we would still have around, 24,000
For
or
6
20,
months.
we would still have just under $20,000 left over
For 6 months.
Yeah. for 6 months.
Matt, I follow you on this, and I think you guys will do good. I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second it. I kinda wanna know what you said about, the equity piece. I mean, I think you're right. That it's really necessary all in one particular class of, our residents. And I think it's really important you do your homework on that. I do think it'd be worth your time though to see if it's potential we could get it reimbursed or applied back to that for what we're doing right now in the meantime. You may be able to do that, I don't know.
Are we still partnering with Connections then, in some other capacity?
We do still partner with them,
Okay.
just not in a funding capacity.
Because I think we need that collaboration too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still maintain a good relationship with Sherry McDonald and everybody that's over there.
Okay,
It wasn't a bad parting of ways by any means.
okay, perfect. Where are they located at now?
They're right across the street. you know, Peterson Law Office, it's like the building right there in the corner, is where they're,
They are, isn't
yeah, that's where they're located at.
Can you, along the way, can you give us just kind of updates on making sure this is working and things like that each month or so? I don't know. I guess you got a 3-month deal here, so
Yeah, definitely.
maybe once a month, just, even if it's just an email, just let us know what's going on. Mayor present.
You know, there's parts of it that would be really exciting as far as expanding it out. I mean, they were talking about the number of people who take their citizenship classes and graduate and get their citizenship. And I'm like, we don't celebrate that as a community. And I think that's one thing that maybe we need to integrate in with our Board of Supervisors, is if they're gonna have a group graduating and they're getting their citizenship that day, why aren't we down there as, you know, people with the county to celebrate that aspect of them? And, you know, as we were working through, even with the Afghan refugees, we got that group together really quick to hopefully help them integrate into the community and welcome them, show them our benefits of what we have. And we were real strong there for a little bit, but that has kind of died off. And I think Central Latino would be a good organization to keep those efforts going for us and make sure that these new people that are coming in kind of see the best of us and are able to get the services that they need. And I mean, they're here to be tax-paying, providing, you know, citizens for us. We need to grow our population. This is the way to do it.
So the citizenship, is that done down at the federal courthouse then?
I believe so. They teach the classes down there at Central Latino.
Right, but then when they get,
right, the swearing-in ceremony, you know, yeah.
is that down at the federal courthouse?
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
Find that out, let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
But if this becomes an annual commitment, then you're looking at about a little over, almost 76,000 then? A year?
That would be, it would, and this, for the community referral piece of it, we would be at 45,000 is what we would be at for that.
Okay.
I don't look to it to stay, like I said, I'm not looking for it to stay in the community referral piece of it. I'm looking for it to shift over into the health equity funding for as long as we have that portion of it. I mean, we know we're gonna have it till around 2026, so.
But we're still looking at 1.5 people person, right? You said it's 1.5.
That it would fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would probably be a little bit more than that under the community or under the health equity portion of it, because there's a lot of community outreach that goes along with that, so, we would probably be around 2 to 3 people.
Okay. Be less. More money then.
And with so public health funding, I mean, we've talked about it a number of times. When it comes to it really means more people. When they're funding you, they're funding positions that come down through. Obviously, we don't have room for any more people within public health in any of our locations that we're at. So we're really trying to be creative and outsource those different pieces into organizations that do have room for people. Because we don't want to miss out on any of the funding that's coming down, but at the same time, we have to be able to spend it.
I think it'll be, I think this is a good thing to do, and you're gonna evaluate it and make sure it's right. If it's not, then we'll, you know, at the end of the year, look for something else, so.
Yeah, it's just sustainability and then keeping, hopefully can keep the same people in the position to create those, you know, relationships and have that, you know, face that's people are familiar with and such, so that person doesn't turn over a bunch.
Hopefully have a new director will help that too.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I think it should.
I would hope so.
I'll call for the vote, that's what you're waiting for.
Any other discussion for Matt? No, I was just gonna let you guys go until you were out of questions. Okay.
Questions?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I have this one right here. If you can sign that, I'll take it over to that. This has Marco's original signature on it.
That's the original.
This has his original signature on it, yes.
They're still in the Omni Center, right?
Yes. Take it right over here.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have discussion and decision to approve Western Iowa Development Association funding in the amount of $50,000 for fiscal year 22-23. I don't know why is coming, or
They felt they were late last year. They came in a little late.
Their request, you mean, or what? Is that what you're asking, is that what you're
They
saying?
came in late on their, asking,
Oh, okay.
so they were encouraged to come early. And,
this is for this budget here.
Well, I wonder if that's their budget year, just off cycle from ours, cause it'd be
It is.
September probably. You know, they might be 1 October and we're,
The invoice says quarterly funding,
so,
50,000.
so we're saying we're gonna put 200,000 at WIDA?
No. I mean, that's what the invoice says. The invoice says
Correct.
quarterly funding, so I think they're gonna have to probably redo that.
I think maybe we, hold that one and ask them to come in, be here to talk to us about it.
that'd be good.
Cause I'd also like to get kind of an update on what's going on and this, I'm just gonna call it like it is. I mean, the reality is this organization over the last, 8 to 10 years, we've had a lot of different experiences and the outputs of that I think need to be known for us if we're gonna continue to fund it. Cause if you look at how much money we put into this in the last 10 years, pretty substantial money, and if we're not getting that output, probably really need to be considering whether or not we keep doing it or not. I think that small town communities love working with them. Seems that the mayors of the communities want them there,
Mhm.
but I also believe that they need to show us that output before we continue to keep approving something that's cost us, well, close to $1 million in the last 10 years, so.
Did you see that on the invoice, Ryan?
I did not, till you pointed it out. I saw the invoice and I just saw the quarterly.
Okay.
Is it,
We'll just,
I just ask we just table it if
we'll take,
possible.
okay, we take no action.
is that,
Get ahold of them, see if they wanna come in and give us an update.
are you,
Yeah.
you and, Lynn, are you guys the two on there?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys would meet on Mondays?
It's a Monday and I think it was last week we met.
Okay.
You're right.
I mean, WIDA does more like, I guess I always like to call it the rural chamber at this point, and I wanna understand the success, that's all. And
Okay.
it's not saying I won't approve the money, I just want them to be here to explain what's going on. And I don't wanna just blindly give them this money and then still have really no input back from, short of me going to their website and trying to find it. But
We budgeted, an amount for the year, didn't we?
Seemed like it was 50 for the year.
so it used to be, if you recall, it used to be 130,000 a year,
Mhm.
and then we cut that in half. And then,
Then we cut the,
I forget the last gal's
50,
name
I
right now,
think it
but
was.
she said she was able to secure other funding, and so that number came down a little bit, and that's where we are here. What's her name? It's Bernie's daughter.
Kristen.
80,000 kind of stuck in my mind.
Bernie's daughter's not there anymore.
No, I know, but she was.
Carly,
Carly, yeah, so
Carly.
she was the one that reduced that amount again
Yeah,
after we,
now Christine's on there.
yeah.
all right, I'll ask Jeanette to get in touch with them and try to get them on the agenda for discussion. Next up, we have, public comment. Anyone sign for public comment?
No.
All right, then our next item on the agenda is a closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 20.17, parent 3, just discussion, decision, labor negotiations, collective bargaining matter.
So moved.
I'll second, sorry, go ahead. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Hauser, call the roll.
Chairman Whitman.
Aye.
Supervisors Shay.
Yes.
Bell.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Groby.
Aye.
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break before we go to closed session.